I want every firefighter in America to know about this author. She's the author of Slay the Dragon, Self-Empowerment and Renewal for First Responders. I'm going to ask her to join me out here, Dr. Katheleen Tallent. Hello. I'm just so passionate about this message. I want you to tell everyone about this book, who it's for, and we have to get this book into the hands of our first responders.
Well, thank you, Angela. Yes, well, this book is obviously for first responders, and I, being a clinical psychologist, I saw the need for this after having been in my profession for about 20 years and working with active duty military, with veterans, with a lot of other clients. But it took me a while to realize that there's a mental health crisis in the first responder community. And once I realized that and started working with more and more of them and became involved in my community and elsewhere, working in a lot of different capacities with first responders, I started learning more and more about it and realized that there's a big need to get information out there about helping them with their mental health as well as their physical health.
Yeah, I got the physical health down. Yes. So I'm going to break my own rule here a little bit, and I didn't let you put this into the marketing, but when we started working together, you specifically mentioned something that I don't know if our listeners know, but suicide rates among and tendency towards suicide. Can we talk about that?
Yes. It's really quite shocking, and I don't think most people realize that more police officers and firefighters are more likely to die by suicide than in the line of duty.
This so shocked me. And I'll tell you guys a little about the book writing process. So Kathleen was like, I got to write a book about suicide among firefighters. I'm like, they're not going to buy it. They're not going to be able to be seen with that book on their desk or in their bag. And so we have to find a way to get in. We had a couple suicides during the time you were writing your book, Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade. And there was this meme that was going around, which was, talk to your strong friend. Reach out to your strong friend. So I feel like this is a moment where we have to do a little PSA and say, if there is a first responder in your life, they are not going to come up and say, hey, by the way, I've been feeling suicidal.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to say that, and part of my motivation for writing this book and my focus for this book is that there is hope, and there's a focus on really positive aspects of mental health and building resiliency. I mean, we know that our first responders are highly resilient. I mean, they go out and save lives every day. And really, it's about acknowledging that there is a chronic stress buildup for many individuals. And it's a lot of it is about self-care and managing that stress.
Yeah. So I know you work with individual first responders and individuals, but you also work with firehouses and other departments like that.
Yes.
Can you talk about that and how it ties into a book? Because I think there are a lot of people who kind of have that idea of they want to work with individuals, but the person bringing them in might be an organization.
Yes. There's an exciting movement happening around the country, particularly for fire departments, that they are engaging in a lot of peer support. And which means that they're really supporting one another. And if one firefighter is having some sort of stress or crisis or something like that, they can go to a buddy, they can reach out and ask for some help in a very supportive way. And that might be the first step to get them in the door to get some more help, some more support. And that's where someone like me can come in and work with them more individually, but also in a group format to really help them support one another and help facilitate their healing.
And design that, right? You'll work with a department and actually design that system.
Absolutely.
So, well, that is amazing. I'm going to ask you a question from a fellow person who deals with trauma, Ernie from Alberta, Canada. Ernie says, I have a proven new paradigm counseling and trauma process that has already helped thousands of people. How do I get that message into the world? I know you've worked with people with all different sorts of traumas. What advice would you have for Ernie?
As far as him getting the message out there. Well, that's really what led me to want to jump in and write this book, because I've really been wanting to make a difference with really being able to help this community. And I can't say enough wonderful things about having this opportunity to work with the Author Incubator and to be able to, it's been a dream of mine to write a book that really makes a difference for people. I've written a lot of academic type writing, and even though I have enjoyed that, I didn't feel like it was getting out there in the world and making that difference that I really wanted to.
Yeah, Ernie, I think she gave you some great advice. It does not have to be me, but find someone who has done it before and learn from them, because that is really the secret. You shouldn't be good at this. No offense. You got your book done, but you're good at being a counselor. You're good at working with firefighters. Ernie, you're good at, working with people through trauma. And so to also be good at a major task of writing a book would be quite a coincidence. Like, I know sometimes people play Major League Baseball and Major League Basketball. It's not common, right? So they're two different sports. Get help and support for sure. I want to talk about another thing that happened with you. You're obviously 20 years of experience working with first responders. You're trained. Are you an MSW?
No, I'm a PhD clinical psychologist.
Clinical psychologist. Okay. So, tons of experience. And a lot of people think that means you have it all figured out. They see the letters. I have the letters too.
Right.
They see the letters. They're like, she has it figured out. You have a quiet office somewhere, no other obligations.
Right.
You had some big stuff happen personally, and I want to talk about the balance of how you deal with lifing on us happening, because I think people are waiting for that quiet patch of grass where they're going to take a sabbatical and focus on their writing. It doesn't usually happen that way.
No. There's never a good time or a perfect time. You just have to jump in and go for it. And that's what I decided to do. And I have no regrets for that.
That's awesome. So I'm going to ask you one more question from Shinna. I think it's pronounced Shinna. If that is how it's pronounced, I love your name. Sheena is nice too, but Shinna's fun. Shinna's from Jacksonville, Florida, and she says, how did you know you were on the right track?
Well, that's an interesting question, because that could be in a lot of different ways. I think in general with the course that I've taken in terms of choosing to write this book, in terms of the book that I have written, I really went with my intuition, went with my heart, went with what I knew I felt was right to do. And that's how I know I've been on the right track.
I love it. So good. I'm going to show people your book. Here it is, Slay the Dragon. It is by Dr. Katheleen Tallent, and please send this to a first responder you love. Download a copy for yourself. You might learn a little about self-care and resiliency. If it's good enough for first responders, it's good enough for you. Thank you so much, Kathleen, and congratulations.